Hello, welcome back to Age of Bison. Another casted game here, late at night, where I'm at. My name is Sir Sharkdad, and I am joined here by Platypus Slayer. How's it going?
Doing pretty good. The evening just started where I'm at, so
Oh, heck yeah,
you
man.
know, yeah, perfect time for some good games. Excited
We
about this
have,
series.
oh yeah, we are super excited about this game here. We have some top-notch talent. Vindian, playing India. And then we also have Dunamai, who you've probably seen in the earlier series, playing the brand spanking new Spain. Once again, back in the Sun Bros internal 1v1 tournament. And these are some two top-notch players. What are you expecting to see out of this, Platypus? I mean, you've kind of been in the tournament. Both of us have played against at least Vindian. I know that you've had some interaction with these two gentlemen. What do you think?
Well, it's going to be an interesting series. So Vindian tends to be a lot more about maps. He's a very flexible player. He's very tactical. He likes to think up strategies and use units in new and kind of interesting ways. He's really embraced the changes that DE has brought. Dunamai, he's more of a standard player, clean. He's played this game for a lot of years. He has a lot of in-depth knowledge of the civs, the timings. And so what you're really going to see here, I think, is a strategy of macro and kind of a meta strategy pitted against another meta strategy. One probably more classical and familiar versus one on Vindian's side that's probably more map dependent and perhaps a little bit tricky.
Yeah, I totally agree. We're seeing Vindian right now already kind of knowing exactly where he needs to go for these treasures. What map is this again that we're playing on? Do you know?
This is Baja California.
Baja
It's got a
California.
trade route through the middle that's very valuable, and each player has access to easy water. This is a hybrid map that endorses a lot of strategies from rushing, choke points, turtling. I can't think of a civ that really hates this map.
Awesome. Well, Vindian coming in with distributivism right away gives that early wood trickle. Dunamai opening up with the trade post, pretty standard. Spain looking for a quick, seems to be I would say a 12-10. Yeah,
That's not
3,
even a 12-10. Good boy, Rush.
10-10.
Well, well.
All right, it's getting kind of interesting. Let's take a look at these decks. Capitalism, Conquistador, probably going to see those war dogs. Also powerful war dogs. House of Trustamara. So I'm thinking here, correct me if I'm wrong, a little bit of a logistician push early onto India, and then maybe a transition into a fortress play whenever he sees the need to do so.
Correct. That looks very much like a classic kind of logistician rush. Loggy gives extra resources to any crates that are age 1 crates sent. It goes directly into your resource bank, so that infinite wood shipment can really add up over time. Not to mention that with House of Trastamara, which allows him to age up for cheaper, and Marvelous Year, Spain can not only rush like crazy, but they can actually pivot to a boom. So this is a deadly deck, and it's been doing very successful in the ladder. This type of strategy, whether it's an FF or a Logi rush, turned into one of the most potent booms in the game. And it looks like the first wonder for India is going up. Can we check on that real fast?
Yeah, let's take a look. So on the Vindian side, looks like a pretty standard Taj Mahal,
Taj.
actually. Okay, interesting. Not
So
Agra.
yeah, so typically Indian players go for the aggro. Now the Taj Mahal has a cooldown ability. Um, And what that does is means no violence, no fighting for a certain amount of time. This can buy you time versus a rush to get a surround, pull villagers, maybe just pull yourself out of a bad engagement. So kind of interesting, although not as safe as the Agra, potentially more game changing.
Super early age up coming in. The governor coming out. Vindian has to know what's going on at this point. He's got to know that Spain has telegraphed for this outpost to be coming out. It's going to be an aggressive placement. Let's see if his explorers can end up spotting that out. There we go. Right up against the trade post there. And sending in 11 Mayan allies. We're definitely going to see an aggressive play here. Let's take a look at the Vindian side really quick. Let me switch that over. That H2 is still coming in on that Wonder. And then even on his deck, I don't know if... I mean, definitely some H2 options, but it looks like a heavy H3 play. 901,000 coin in all these unit shipments. Would you agree with that assessment?
I think so. I don't think he wants to end this game in H2, especially without the Agra. Oh,
Oh,
here comes
man.
some dog harassment. Luckily, Indian and all natives, not native, but Asian civs, their wonders do go up automatically, but very slow. So this is going
Nice
to
little delay.
slow down Vindian's ability to get units out to counter what is very likely a rush, and he has to know it by now.
Still looking. We're still sub 5 minutes. Mayan allies about to come in. You know that's a military shipment point. Now that's been spotted out by one of the Indian explorers. Let's take a look back at the Base of Dunamai. Still working. Now we're at 12 over 20. A little bit of an Idleville there. There's the Ion allies coming in. Let's take a look. Vindian just now reaching Commerce Age. 3 War Dogs ready to go. Now these guys are going to be pretty useful for the snaring. These guys are not to be underestimated. Very, very strong. Let's take a look if Vindian sees this.
He's going to see the dogs, but is he going to see the rest of the javelins? And really, can those javelins get work done? Because look, he's already setting up a consulate. Vindian's setting up for a long game. So it's really going to depend on Dunamai's ability to cripple Vindian fast.
Now, do you think these Mayan allies are going to be able to... Ooh. Oh, and the Ville going down. Can these Mayan allies take out this consulate? Even with the Withering TC fire, what has he got? Barracks coming up on the side. Let's take a look back at Dunamai. We can get that pressure on that barracks. That's a huge win for him. But no, we're seeing 700 wood come in. Interesting. Maybe a little bit to keep him off of his toes. What are you thinking?
Yeah, this is kind of this is definitely is not a logistician rush per se. I mean, this is a jump in, do some damage, disrupt, get Vindian to overreact, slow that boom. Right? India has a very powerful economy, so by slowing this down, forcing the sepoys to come out, he's just buying time, and that's exactly what he wants to do. Although honestly, he might have been able to take that fight, but sepoys are really strong musketeers. The Volcans have numbers.
Let's take a look. We got 5 Gurkha coming out, along with the sepoys. Now, I think he did cancel that shipment and decided to go for the 4 Sowars instead.
Ooh, good. Close. By Vindian. Clutch.
Very clutch. Let's take a look at the Dunamai side once again. Let's take a look back at the base. More War Dogs coming out. Always such a pain to see when you're playing against Spain. And then 8 pikemen. I'm really wondering. He's floating quite a bit of wood. 400 wood here. 11 on food. I don't think we're going to see any sort of transition to fortress, but we are seeing a church go down here and an extra barracks. Seems to be dedicated to the H2 play.
Is this like a Furoshiki in disguise?
You can see these pikemen coming in. He doesn't really want to siege this wonder necessarily.
No. It's got a lot of health. But it's just distracting Vindian. It's keeping him pulled 2 places at once. I mean, at that point, you've got the pikemen. It makes sure that there's no Sowars coming out, which there wouldn't be with those javelin. Hey, he's got 2 sheep in the corner.
Another shipment coming in. 700 coin. Maybe we're going to see that transition that we're talking about. Going back to the Vindian side. 21 Vills. Let's take a look at the Vill count to 17. Not too bad on the Spain side, to be honest with you, considering India's economy. More Gurkha still just trying to deal with these dogs, still just kind of giving that harassment. He's kind of debating exactly what he wants to do. More Vills still coming out, more Gurkha as well.
He's on berries too, and that's not great because, berries gather slower than hunts, so he's keeping him off the hunts. Whether it'll be enough, it's hard to tell, but this is, starting to tax Vindian. Look, he's got attacked on 2 fronts. He's just under a lot of pressure. His score is really high, so he's going to have to hold this, because if he does, he'll be in a good position. If he doesn't, it's going to be tough to recover from.
I'm really wondering what exactly... I mean, both of these gentlemen are playing at such a high level, I mean, maybe I'm not even qualified to cast this game, to speak honest, but I'm really wondering what he's going for here. Okay, now we got the 2 missionary pop coming out. More pikemen. I mean, obviously he wants to make those pikemen to keep the Sowar off of him, but I'm really curious, because you would think that maybe he would go for perhaps a cav switch by forcing the Gurkha play. Maybe a little bit of a raid here by Vindian coming in with the Sowar, kind of trying to scout the base. A lot of idle time here on these settlers, not good. Let's take a look at the Vindian side really quick. Still just trying to scout it out, maybe try to get some pressure off the base. Going back here,
it seems like he succeeded, yeah. And those Gurkhas are going to stop anything that's not a Hussar, so I think for now he's bought in time. The question now is, what do you do with that time? Do you stay in H2? I mean, India has a pretty decent H2, so I guess the goal now is to keep Spain from going H2, especially with that Furoshiki. Okay, those are just still the whole kinds. I thought those were halberdiers for a second. I was about to be like, oh boy.
So he's wanting to keep these javelineers up. Pikeman there coming out of the TC was able to prevent that, and then here we are. Next stage up fast. We may be seeing that transition after all. 12 on food. All right, let's take a look back at the Vindian side once again. 26 versus 21. Still not bad on the Spain side. Usually you're going to expect a little bit of a lower Vil count. Decided to halt the construction of the market there, it looks like. No more units coming out. Just, he looks like he's going to be going for that Fortress age up right now at this point.
Yeah, Dunamai's kind of behind us. Ooh, Vil pick. I think a lot of this now is going to depend on what happens in Fortress Age and who gets, who really gets the initiative, right? Because I think if falconets come out, India really struggles against artillery, especially artillery, you know, surrounded by pikes. Because they don't really have easy access to normal artillery. They do get their elephants, but...
Oh, those siege elephants are deadly, though. I can't tell you how many games I played against India, and those siege elephants are so difficult, so tanky, with so much range and damage.
But they don't have as much range as, you know, culverins and other cannons, so you have to expose them a bit. And that's what makes it difficult to utilize them properly. Sharpen our gate, so we may see some elite units coming out.
Are you expecting any sort of water play out of these two guys, or you think it's just going to be generally avoided? Yeah, Baja California on each side, you have the water on each side, that plenty of resources on each side that can be taken here, so...
Let's see, too. Is Dunamai aging up? Yes.
He is.
What did he pick for his age up out of?
Let's see. Probably the scout, going for the Hussar.
So that's 4 Hussar, yep.
Mm-hmm. Let's take a look here. What else is in his deck for age 3? Definitely expect the 2 Falconets card. Liberation March. Now, again, I'm not terribly familiar with New Spain. I have an idea. I used to main Spain back in the day. I haven't been able to pick up the new one just yet, but he is missing the Marvelous Year card that everybody is so obsessed with, so I wonder how it's going to play out. And then Assassins is very interesting. Probably good against India, though, considering the strength of their explorers.
That's true. I don't know if I put that in a card. I wonder if that was a misclick even, but well, we'll find out. You know what I mean? Like, so far, Vindian's in a pretty solid position, but I don't know what Dunamai is doing. I can honestly say that. I would have think that, you know, without Marvelous Year, his boom is not going to be as potent. And it looks like there's a raid coming in on the left, Dunamai. Up there on his Vils.
See if he gets a Vil down. He does not have that one. And get some idle time in. Let's take a look at the Dunamai side. Trying to get that market down a couple of houses. He's doing really well with these houses in terms of the line of sight. And then equally on the Vindian side, I love... You know, a lot of players now, and especially in the higher level, are able to use the map to their advantage, kind of hugging the side of the map here. To really kind of, you're forcing the enemy to really come under your TC and waiting for a good pop to come out from the home city. Exactly. Anticipating a cap switch here with 4 Zambarak coming in. Vindian he's just looking so far ahead. And then Dunamai here still kind of probing the base with the javelins, still keeping those guys up. Somar coming right now for the Explorer on the Spanish side. Let's take a look at what he gets. It's already coming out.
I don't know if, yeah, because, let's see here. They do count as heavy infantry, so those Javelineers will do okay into them. Not great, but as long as they don't bunch up because of the area effect damage from the elephants, they should be okay.
All right, here's the 2 Falconet pop. You know, Platypus, give me some of your insights here. You know, I feel like it's kind of interesting because both of these players are just going to be anticipating 3 unit compositions, and so they're going to have to build so many different kinds of units to counter different kind of units, just anticipating what each is going to make. And so you may end up with maybe not as efficient military.
Well, this is, you know, part of the game, right? You're trying to anticipate your opponent's comps and then put the right counter on the right unit while mitigating their ability, right? To put their counters on your units, you know, and looks like we got a big fight coming.
Pull those Hussar back, great micro on the part of Dunamai to avoid.
But those Gurkhas are kind of pulled. Ooh. Yeah.
Very rough up against those Falconets. He knows that he can't really push up. I don't understand why he's going so much for the Taj Mahal. Probably he doesn't want that peace treaty to coming in. Here it is. Here's the fight.
Ooh, but you know what? Smashing in.
Oh, here's the Maha right on top of the Falconets. See if he can get the Maha out before. Amazing. Both Falconets stay up. Gurkha just getting torn apart. Getting those Zambaraks in there, taking out. Still no Falconet going down.
even with the
Soar still, one Soar still on top of it, one Falconet finally going down, and there's those famous Indian Explorers just putting in work. Both of them going down, but score is still slightly even, and I feel like that was still a huge loss on the Vindian side. What do you think?
I think so too. It's so hard in those situations to think how you could have done it better. I think having the gold mine in the middle split his forces and kind of made the pathing kind of bad. So I don't know if that was on purpose by Dunamai, but I think that ended up really going against Vindian, even though he had the better unit comp and definitely the numbers. See, now he's getting pushed into his base.
A little bit into the houses. There's those 2 siege elephants that you just love to hate or hate to love. Lancers coming in.
Lancers in that mix.
Such a great unit. Get right on top of them. He may be willing to sacrifice his mass just to get after this mass. Oh, Lancers right on top of the Gurkha. Here are the missionary coming in, just tanking some shots. Oh, and an absolute wipe on the Vindian side. Rodelero coming right on top of the siege elephants. Lancers now switching their targets.
I mean, the siege elephants, they're still doing some work, but they're so expensive. I mean, that's like 700-800 resources right there.
Let's take a look.
Oh, that's right, the card. But yes, still, it's an H3 shipment.
Yeah, absolutely. And a huge wipe here. Vindian does not have any sort of military pop right now. What is he making? I don't know.
He's got the French consulate. So
he's got a Howdah. A single Howdah coming out.
Oh, no.
Will it be enough? These Howdahs are 800 health, 60 siege attack, 72 range attack with a stagger mode. Very strong.
Oh, no. The Vils are pinched in the back. Oh, no.
Huge loss here for Vindian.
Look at that pathing as they idle about back and forth.
And it doesn't matter. He can sacrifice his mass. I would lose a military unit to take out a villager any day. Any day.
Especially against India. That's their whole, shtick is to get extra Vils. And now the Spanish military is winding up. It looks like he's on 32 Vils. Can we see what Vindian has for res?
Sure.
35,
okay, but
so
29 idle, just sitting all in the TC. Lots of res here on the ground. All this chest of coin. Huge amount of pike. You would think...
Skirm now.
Yeah, Skirm coming in, but, I mean, I just love seeing players commit to the pike play, even though they don't really have a place in the later ages, H3, H4, but he's still using them to get the siege out on the TC.
Oh, is he trying to pull Vils? Yeah, or no, that's a Seaboy pop. Oh, that is clutch.
Down there.
Still, you've got the rods now in combat. You've got the boys in their pike square.
That's so fun. Do you think he's overcommitting to this push, though?
Not really. He's on the back burner, and India is a civ that you just cannot allow breathing space. You know what I mean? They can just boom right back so quickly. Sometimes you gotta dive in Spain when your eco's not special and you do not have Marvelous here. I really believe this is probably the better idea is keep the pressure and never let it stop.
Well, he seems to be committing, just like you're saying. Another 5 Hussar coming in, more pikes coming in. I believe these are... He still hasn't even upgraded them. Let's see what the Vil count is now after losing all those Vils. Still not a lot. He hasn't lost a lot. 32 sitting in TC, whereas Dunamai sitting on a healthy 34. All these Vils. He's got total map control. Another trade post coming in.
This is looking rough for Vindian. If anyone can pull it from behind, it's definitely him, but I don't know. He is human. And yeah, the Vils are being pulled. They've got nowhere to go. Oh, there's a Lancer. I think we're about to see GG here shortly. Unless Vindian's got some crazy pop.
Two more Mahouts could be the difference here to take out some of these pikes, but this TC is most likely coming down. Let's take a look at what Dunamai's got racked up. Even more Hussar just sitting idle. Can definitely use those at any point. More pike just flooding it to try to take out this TC. Oh, and a huge loss. Stagecoach upgrade. Let's take a look at what Vindian's got. And these pikes will absolutely just tear apart regardless. Villagers getting in on some of the action. Those scrims seem to be going down. I haven't seen those Hussar come into play. I don't know if he's forgotten about them.
Well, now the question is, what are you doing when you're Vindian? Like, what's your win condition? How do you get back in this game? I mean, even I'm looking at this and I'm like, your eco's not booming. How much, Dunamai now is 37 Vils. How much does Vindian have? 32 still?
28.
28. Oh. Yeah, I don't know what he's doing, honestly, at this point, other than he must have some strategy up his sleeve, or maybe he's just playing it to play it, because this is looking very commanding for Dunamai.
I think if anything, you kind of think to yourself, you look at the Spanish deck, you think, okay, he's probably out of 12 Pike shipment, he's probably out of his siege stuff, he's got nothing else, except maybe the 7 rods.
And that card's kind of, not a huge fan of the Refund Key stuff, but that's just me.
Probably thinking to yourself, maybe you could kind of turtle up a little bit more here in the corner and see if you can play it out, really force him
down, and maybe the opponent, forgets that you're India and that can boom like crazy, right? And he lets the gas off.
Well, Gurkha won village, so he obviously has some sort of shipment point going on, and the problem is he has no wood cards in that third age, or he does have the 700 wood card. He can definitely use that for a new TC, so maybe that's what he's thinking. Crazier things have happened.
Yep, I agree. And,
but keeping him housed is going to be key. I think if he can siege down these houses, really keep him just on the mend, I think that's going to be huge.
Yeah, he's got a castle up. He's got 610. I don't know why we're not seeing a TC down yet. It's got to be soon.
Well, we do have, he is floating 600 here.
Yeah, but for what? Now would be the time to put the TC and try to get back, but he just may be so overwhelmed too. Sometimes when you play these games, you get such a tunnel vision, like you can't be everywhere. And a game was actually over, and it takes time to process, right? Like, I mean, stuff goes so fast in this game. You can be on top like he was, lose in an instant, and not even realize like the direness of the situation until it's too late. So, it's a tournament. He respects his opponent, but he's thinking, maybe I got a shot. Maybe there's something I can do to get back into this game. And so, he shipped his Gurkhas. He's got his elephant. Just trying to buy time. I don't think Dunamai is going to give him time, because here we come.
He's got that Conquistador pop that just came in. He's holding them back into reserve, just trying to see what he can see. Get those Hussar right on top of the Gurkha once again. And that Mahat's not going to be able to do much work, unfortunately, because then you got the Rodeleros coming in. To your point, I think that you definitely want to wait to put the TC down if you're Vindian, because you don't want to just slap that down where you're already. And there it is.
And there's the GG. Well, valiant effort by Vindian. I think he really had a good lead. I think that initial fight, man, around that coin mine next to the Taj Mahal, that was key. And just splitting. I mean, again, it was a fairly even fight, but just because he split it and he couldn't get the right units on to the right thing in time, the unit comp was a little bit more tanky from Dunamai. He was able to pull through. I mean, looking at this, yep, you can see where Vindian drops and Dunamai pops.
Micro wins games, and I find that even with a proper strategy going into it, obviously he had the H3 in mind. He was able to hold off those initial pushes. Dunamai was smart. He was, as you said, he made him overcommit to the H2 play, probably got him off of his timing. I mean, the timings are generally the same, even though Spain was the one who was first to push here, right? We can see that pop right there. And then if you're looking, H3 coming in roughly the same, and you can imagine that he was most likely hoping for a much earlier H3 time, get his units in, get those siege elephants, and start to push on your opponent. But no, he kept him on his toes, and then when that big fight came in, he just microed just a little bit better than Vindian did. Not to say Vindian played poorly, but that micro, even getting the falconets, it was too much. He needed to maintain the mass and pull it back. Just let him siege, see if you can come back with a better composition at some point. And it just didn't happen that way.
I think he went a little bit early, and he could have held, he could have waited to get some more units and used the ceasefire then, and I think he just sometimes you got to take a gamble, and he gambled and he lost, unfortunately, but he still put up a good effort.